All right. Hey, Troy Luccketta.
How are you, my friend?
It's been a while, man. I'm glad to talk to you and see you.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
Of course, yeah. And welcome to Chaos Conversations. It's nice to chat with you. You're somebody beyond just a drummer. You are a super cool person, and I want you to know that
Thank
I recognize that, man. And I didn't realize and I just want to jump right into it, brother. What a profound impact you had on the folks who at the station fire for that benefit you put together with Dee Snider.
hmm
I helped with that project, being a DJ from Rhode Island, and I worked with Dave and those guys. But what America's Deadliest Rock Concert, for folks who don't know, it was a fire at a little honky tonk, and Great White was playing, and it was pyro, but it was every other thing that could have gone wrong did. It was like the Hindenburg of rock and roll. And folks are still dealing with all that, Troy. But you were so profound and such a major impact in helping put together a big concert with some Boston bands, and thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I know all those other folks for all that we coordinated that fundraiser, man. What moved you to that, and how did you come to know what was really going on there?
Uh, well,
Heavy way
it,
to start, man.
it's actually great because it puts things in perspective,
Right.
everything, life, people taking things for granted and the things that we don't think about. So, no, it's a great question, and I'm happy to address it. The way it was happening, we were touring. Tesla was on the road. We were driving down the freeway. It's probably, I don't know, maybe noon or something, you know.
Right.
But what happened was we had just come from Providence. We were playing, is it Lupo's, the
Oh
club?
yeah, Lupo's Heartbreak Hotel.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
fun place.
we did a VIP that morning. And first, let me just preface, we have time, so don't worry about the time.
Okay.
Ever today, I don't want, well, let's just enjoy the interview. Uh,
Okay.
um, we were doing a VIP meet and greet,
Right.
played that club,
Sure.
and when we left that club, well, we had met a lot of survivors at that time, and so we leave Providence, and there was a little, there was a packet um, that was addressed to Frank Hannon about uh, the station fire and station family fund. So it sat there for a couple of days, and I thought, well, I'll just pick that up and look at it. So I kind of looked over the information that was in there, and I remember thinking like, well, what can I do? What can I offer up? And I thought, hey, I'll just get like for $100 a piece, you can get guitars, cheap guitars,
Sure.
get them, get them signed, and
Sure.
maybe I'll get like, because I thought I'll get 20. I'm a recovered drug addict, alcoholic of 32 years right now.
Well, congratulations, man.
I'm still an addict the way I think. So I'm like,
I get it.
not just get one guitar. I'm thinking I'll get 20 guitars, spend a couple grand,
Yeah.
get them signed, and get them to them, and they can feed them out however they can for the Station Family Fund
Sure.
because they were trying to raise money,
Right.
and their whole mission at the time was basically to help a lot of the families uh, for their insurance not to lapse for the kids and the family, and they had their own personal struggles at this point. So they're giving it all up to the families. So I made a phone call to the number that was on there, and I reached this gal, Vicky, who was the president.
Yep.
And yeah, and she turned me on to Todd King.
Yep.
Said, "Why don't you call Todd and make all these arrangements?" Because I said I wanted to make a donation. That's all it was. I was just going to make a donation.
Right.
the time, and I had my little plan in my head of what I was going to do. So when I called and I talked to Todd, I had learned so much about the organization. I was so impressed with them, and I realized there was just five, six people that had survived that put the organization together, stationfamilyfund.org, and they no, nobody they were using their own phones and their own means to help. Nobody,
Right.
100% of your donation was going to help.
Yep.
And I thought, well, and so we're driving down the road when I made this call. I was sitting in the middle, like when you walk on a tour bus and you step up to go
Right.
on a bus, I was sitting right on those steps there.
Right.
I remember being on the phone talking to Todd, and I looked behind me, and Jeff was standing in the bunk area, and we're rolling down the road. And I said, hey man, I'm gonna call you back. And I hung up with Todd, and I walked in. I said, hey Jeff, I said, how about we do a fundraiser for the Station Family Fund and the survivors, and maybe we could put a little something together, and he just said, he goes, well, oh, okay, is it going to cost us any money? Because that's always a concern.
Right.
And because we got to roll,
Right.
and
Yeah.
what's it going to take to put this together? I go,
Right.
no. And I go, no, I'll figure it out. It won't cost us any money, Jeff. And he goes, okay, cool, I'm in. And I remember going to Frank, and I talked to Frank about it, and he said yes. And I went to Brian, and he said yes. And that's all I needed. It was the four of us.
Yep.
And I thought, well, we had management. And I didn't want to bring it to management because I already knew they would just
Say no.
want to make a donation and, not get too involved. And that's just how it usually happens, my experience. Uh,
Okay.
Not to take anything away from anybody.
No, I know. Yeah, I totally get it. Yep.
Because there's a lot of moving parts in these. So I called Todd back and I said, hey, Todd, I said, look it, man. I said, Tesla's going to come and do a concert and we're going to play. And I've got some ideas about that. And I says, but there's not going to be no heroes, no interviews. There's not going to be any of that. We're just going to do it under the radar and we'll work on putting this thing together. And he goes, man, that's great. He goes, I know we can get a lot of help and a lot of support. Maybe we can get the PPAC Center, the Performing Arts Center there.
Right.
Uh, and uh, and Todd and I started brainstorming about how we could put that together. So that kind of kicked it off, and we talked about a few things, and we start going back and forth, and he's telling me all the things he's putting together. And I said, well, look, man, I go, so I had lived at that time I was in Arizona, and Shinedown was playing. They had their first single out, Luck Simple Man.
Right. Wow.
So that's how far back we're going back because
Yeah.
the fire was February 20th, 03, and now it's 05 where we do the first event that I'm not even sure you're aware of. Maybe
Right.
you're aware
Didn't
of it.
did
Before the big show.
well,
This is the first one.
well, did not know.
A lot of people don't know about. But what happened
No.
was so I Shinedown's in town and I'm like,
Wow.
oh, 3 o'clock, they should be getting there for sound check.
Right.
I'll go down and knock on the back door. Guy comes to the back door, opens the back door. I said, hey, Troy Luccketta, play drums for Tesla. I'd like to meet the guys. I'd like to talk to them about something. He goes, okay, well, they're kind of in the middle of this. And so cool. I hang out for a minute and band's back. They get off, they go back and, I go back to meet them.
Sure.
And I go back and introduce myself and say hello. And they go, hey, do you mind if we move it to the bus? And so we jump on a bus. We're talking. I tell them, I said, look, I've got Tesla. We're going to put a show together in Providence, Rhode Island for the Station Family Fun. And everybody at that point knows everything because we're just a couple years, not even a year, 2 years out.
Right. And for folks watching who might not know, this was a fire that claimed the deaths of 100 people and many, many burn victims, and just a political nightmare. Everywhere you went, they were having trouble getting benefits, as you had mentioned before, because of all the politics involved. Everybody was getting sued. Nobody was getting any help. And this is where Troy Luccketta, Tesla, Shinedown come in. And back to your story, man. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's really good because people need to understand it. So now I'm sitting on the bus and they go, yeah, we want to do it. I tell them what's going on. They sign up. They go, let us talk to our management. And they call me back. Troy, we're on. We just need a couple $1,000 just to cover us from here to there for, I go, no problem, man. You know,
Yes,
and,
right.
and that was beautiful. I was really excited to have them on the bill. So now I'm going to go back to Carmine Apiece because he doesn't get talked about a lot, but
Mm,
he was helping out a lot before I was involved.
wow, did not know that.
Yeah, you might want to interview him as well, and I could
Yeah,
set that up for you.
thank you.
Carmine, who I was a huge fan and still am of Carmine,
Right.
he was involved helping out, and he had a thing called Stomp at the time. Oh
Oh
no, no.
yeah.
Let me go back because that's the second event. This the first event he was playing with Pat Travers. So I called Carmine. I said, "Hey Carmine," I said, "Going to do this event, man. We want to get involved because I already knew he was doing everything he could to help them."
Oh,
And there were
yep.
small things that happened prior to, and that would have been part of Carmine. And so I was. He goes, "Yeah, man. Let me talk to Pat Travers." And so we had Pat Travers and Carmine Apiece open the show. So now we got we have a show now. We've got Pat Travers, Carmine Apiece. We've got Shine Down and Tesla. That's it, and it's 3,300 seats. So
Plenty.
we
Yeah,
got to go.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
And it's on sale. Radio gets involved, and
Good.
God's handling all that.
Yep.
And I said, I'm happy to do if we need to support it with because they want to do an interview. And I said, yeah, we can, we want to sell some tickets. Let's do this. So we did. We sold it out,
Yeah.
3,300 seats, and we did the show. And it was the
Nice.
first real show that happened of acknowledgement for them due to what you were talking about, Paul. Just whatever. I mean, it kind of had this stench on it. It was really funky.
Yeah.
D. Snyder talks about it, and
Right.
and it's sad because of what it was not happening at the time. They just got kind of,
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, president, nobody showed up. Nobody was showing up.
Right.
And
Right.
the way that it really should have been acknowledged and showed up is one of the, if not the largest club fire we've ever had in terms of taking lives.
It
So
is.
now we do the show. Complete success. We print up 700 t-shirts, sold out in the first hour. And the bottom line is it brought everybody together. And it was so beautiful to watch the survivors and the families and the people because they were recognized at that point. And
Right.
it was about that. And so that was a complete success. Gina, I have some stuff in my hallway I can show you a little bit later, and I can drag my computer over there and show you. Donovan Williams, and I don't know if you know who he is. He was
No.
in a coma for 3 months,
Mm,
and he in the hospital for 6 months, and I ended up reaching out to him later after this event, and that the whole Station Family Fun is it's like it's part of my family now because of what we've done together, you know.
right.
So anyway, moving forward, fast forward the event successful, we raised maybe $100,000+ that night. So, like cool, and boom, I'm just go on our way. Well, I don't know how I stayed in touch with them and Donovan, he knew. I mean, every year was passing by. I was thinking like, well, it'd be nice if it could be like an annually thing, but
Right.
things weren't lining up so well with my schedule and and I'd stayed in touch with everybody and then I'd always wanted to get into the arena, and I thought, man, it'd be great if we could do something at the arena.
Yeah. Civic Center. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was the Dunkin' Donut Center. And so
Right.
what happened was Tesla was coming through town. And Donovan Williams had called me. We were on the road, and he said, "Hey, man, I want to talk to you about some things." And Donovan's blind, so he can't drive
Ah,
the thing. And he goes, "Look, I'm going to meet you at the hotel where you're going to be. We're pulling into town that night before the show."
right.
And I said, "Great, man." So we met in the hotel bar, and we sat. we talked for a minute, and he said, he goes, look, I know you always wanted to get into the arena, and I set you up for a meeting tomorrow at noon.
Nice.
I'm like, what'd you set up, Donovan? Deborah Pacelli is the uh what was her title? Assistant to the GM or whatever.
Right,
And I got you a meeting with Deborah. And I'm like, I remember thinking to myself, I'm a man of faith. A lot of people know that about me. And I just remember looking up and I said, it's done. Just like that.
no,
I mean, I already knew what that relationship with me and
right,
God was. And I already knew, I got it, it's like answer the call,
right.
and that's what I felt it was.
Wow,
I knew right then and there this was done. Alls I
wow.
alls I had to do was just connect the moving parts.
Yep,
And I went down, I took the meeting. I'm having a conversation with her, telling her the whole story about what we had achieved with the first event. I said, "Look, I'm going to reach out to everybody from Bon Jovi to Aerosmith to I'm really going to make an effort to connect with these people and see who I can get involved to put the show together. I have,
right,
I have no idea what an arena costs to rent for the evening and how that
right,
works.
right.
You know, she goes, Troy, next week my brother's gonna I mean, my brother's going to marry a woman who lost her husband in the fire. She says this is near and dear to all of us, and she goes, "Let me see what I can do." We picked a date, and a week later, she sent me an email, and she had a list of all the expenses, what it would take to put the show together, and on the top, first line item, rent for the building, zero.
Nice. Wow.
And I was like, awesome.
Yep.
I said, cool. I call her back. I go, what's it going to take to have the show? She says, just bring me a $2,000 check, you know, for a $2 million liability policy, and you can have your show.
Awesome.
So I called
Awesome.
Todd. I called Todd, man. I go, Todd, we're on, man. Just bring him a check for 2 grand, you know. And right when that happened, and he gave him the check, the billboard outside,
Yeah.
I have a foundation called Wake Up to Love.
Nice.
And my foundation, it said, Wake Up to Love presents the Station Family Fund Benefit Relief Concert.
Wow. Wow. That sends shivers up your spine, doesn't it?
Oh my God. And I know I got chills myself.
Right.
And I remember thinking like I had Tesla. That was it. My very first phone call that I made was Michael Sweet.
Oh, nice.
I called Michael because he was with the Nashville Publicity Group at the time, and I used to get these emails about Michael's work, and he had a solo record out and he was promoting. I thought, well, maybe I can get my one thing I knew, and this is for you, D. If you hear this interview, this is for you. So you had amnesia at the time, but you're going to remember this now.
Yeah.
It was myself who suggested. I said, look, I'm not doing just an 80s rock show. And the reason I say that, and that's tongue in cheek to D, because I think he thinks he mentioned that, but the way it happened, I said, it can't be just an 80s rock show. I says, I want to bring 80s rock and country and some Christian. I wanted to really
Nice.
clear that up and make it, because if it was just 80s,
Right.
it felt to me, it was much bigger than that, you know.
Right.
So,
Right.
and we'll get to D in a minute. Love that man.
Yeah. Good
Um,
guy.
he's the reason for the season. So,
Mhm.
um, but so now, I reach out to Michael and he says, yeah, he says, I'm totally into it, man. And he says, can I bring my band? And I said, bring your band? He's like, yeah, Striper. I'm like, dude, that would be freaking insane. That would be awesome. I was just thinking maybe he would, you know,
Right.
I go, that would be so. And then he goes, by the way, I sing in Boston. He goes, let me call Tom Scholes from Boston. I'm like, dude, you got to be freaking kidding me. And guess what? He brought Tom and Gary Pill,
Yep.
and they were part of this event.
Yeah.
So that was my first phone call. We were playing, oh my God, the ballroom in Hampton Beach.
Hmm. Nice.
And we were there early, and Aaron Lewis was playing, and we went Tesla. So I remember hanging out, seeing we were watching Aaron Lewis play, and we went backstage and talking to Aaron, and I told Aaron about it. He was the second guy I talked to. I
Yep.
said, Aaron, I said, I'm going to do this event, man, and would you be interested in coming on, to play? And he said, yeah. So I'm like, wow, cool, man. I got two people.
Yeah.
So
Aaron's a good guy too, right? I mean,
he's a
God,
man, that guy
amazing man. Yep.
so he's the real deal, man. He
So
is
chill.
so sweet, so
Yep.
amazing.
Yep.
And now the way this thing is working, I'm like, man, we're off to a really good start. And I knew I needed a host for this event, and I knew I had a lot of phone calls to make. And I think D might have been my third call, possibly. So D Snyder, oh, I know what it was. Todd King said, oh, no, 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 this is what happened. Todd King says, hey, man, you ought to call D Snyder. And I go, well, I don't know D Snyder. And he goes, man, you should check him out. And we were in Europe and we were playing, and Twisted Sister was playing later that night. These events, man, they went on like at freaking 1 in the morning or something stupid. That's how those events in Europe are, man. I mean, they go
Right.
late. And I remember hanging around and I'm watching D, and every other word out of his mouth was F this and that. And I just called Todd back and I go, Todd, I go, I don't know, man. I don't know if I can use D, man. He's a bit of a trash mouth, you know. And
Right.
I love you, D, but that was what I saw.
Right.
And Todd goes, "Hey, man, he's on the radio. He doesn't swear on the radio." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, cool, man. Oh, okay, I'm gonna call D, you know." So I got
Right.
his left him a voicemail. He called me right back, and this is where it all gets great. He's like, Troy, man, this is so great. I wanted to do this. VH1 wanted me to put an event together for them, and we were going after, same thing. We were going after Bon Jovi, Aerosmith, all these. But he goes, I was hitting a wall, and unless I had these big name build people, he goes, it fell apart. It didn't happen. And I go, well, D, I kind of approached it a little different. I had Tesla, and my thinking was, well, we got an arena, man. We got it for free. It's not going to take a lot to break even on this deal. And
Right.
it's a win-win no matter how we do it. And I know there's a show, I just don't know what the show is.
Right.
And he's like, I go, man, I just need you to go out and flap your jaws, be the host, do what you do. And he's like, I'm in.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I had,
Yeah.
I've been, so now we're on a mission from God. It's awesome, man. Him and I, and for people that don't know D. Snyder, I mean, this guy, he has got to be one of the most amazing people in rock and roll that I know. And I say that because, first of all, what people don't know about him, the guy's never drank or done any drugs in his life,
Wow.
much like Gene Simmons.
Right.
And I didn't know that. And the perceptual picture of
Right.
D and us and what we do. I mean, I'm 32
Right.
years sober for a reason.
Right. Yeah.
D D did not partake, you know what I'm saying?
I do.
So, anyway, so I had learned all this moving forward, and he's a businessman. He's sharp as a tack,
He is.
so he jumps right in. He's like, Troy, I'm doing this show called, I think it was called Gone Country, and he was in Nashville. And he was working with John Rich from Big and Rich. He
Yep.
goes, man, let me reach out to some of these people. I go, man, I want to. That's perfect because I wanted to bring country. And I
Country.
don't contacted Dirk Bentley's people. And it's funny because he came back and he goes, look, man, we're talking to Dirk Bentley, Gretchen Wilson. And he goes, not only, he goes, I talked to John Rich. He goes, John's coming and he's bringing a private jet on his own dime. And he's bringing Gretchen Wilson, Dirk Bentley, and I forget who else we had. That was it. And I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
And he was reaching out. So I said, I gave them an hour during the show for the countryside of it. And I'm building my show. I'm adding people and it's growing. And
Nice.
I put a house band together and got Eric
Nice.
Martin, and I got Tesla. We've got Winger. We've got man. I have to go down the list to look at all the different bands that we had on there. A lot of talent, a lot of bands. Anyway, it was all coming together, man. Everybody was signing up as I knew they would.
Yeah.
I didn't know who, but I know that people want to help.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to help. Not everybody is cut out to do what it is I do. But we all have a role. It's and I'm just doing my part, and trying to connect some dots, and it's, you know what I mean? I,
Yeah.
I had no idea when I left that arena and that happened, I became the promoter. So because somebody I'm talking to, oh, so you're the promoter. I'm like, oh shoot, I'm the promoter? Okay.
Fun gig.
But that was really the truth of the matter. And and now I'm calling everybody I know. And
You
with that,
know, for folks in Rhode Island and New England, and I know this is going to hit a sore spot. Being fans and growing up there, which I did, grew up in New England, grew up outside of, I grew up in Rhode Island in Narragansett. And we'd always go to Boston, but we'd always see Aerosmith. We'd always see Jay Giles. We'd always see the Cars. We'd always see Extreme. And none of them showed up. And as fans, we're just like, oh, like we've seen Stephen bail kids out of jail for smoking weed in the 70s. I mean, they were always there for us. Why aren't they here now? What happened?
and I didn't want to put any judgment on anybody. I don't know what happened. And I had reached out, and I forget, I think I talked to Paul from Extreme the Drummer, who was managing Godsmack at the time. I don't know if we talked about it or what happened, and I don't know why things didn't line up or why it didn't happen. I'm just going to leave it at that. D might have a different side of that story. Maybe you want to connect that dot. But
Right.
I don't know that it doesn't. I mean, I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand that, and I don't know why. I don't
Okay.
answer that, and there's no judgment around that. I
Understood.
just know that something had to happen, and it was just
I wonder if
naive.
it was the
It was very
politics.
naive on my part of uh, and organic the way it happened. I hadn't planned to do this. This was not, oh, I'm gonna go put a concert together.
Right.
The big one, the first one I'm talking about, so which led to the
Right.
second, which was the way all these things came together. But so yeah, so now we're gonna have the show and
Amazing.
uh,
Amazing show too.
yeah, and it worked, man. I mean, the short story is I could go on and talk about all the details, and there's a lot of wonderful, beautiful moments and details and things that happened and healing in the community. I believe that helped with
It
that
did.
because everybody came aboard. We had
Yep.
backstage was so amazing, man, because you had all these rooms, all this press, you had all the people from the country, you had the people from the rock and all these different publicists, and then you had the Christian side of it. So everywhere you're going, you're doing interviews.
Right.
And I was doing John Rich and myself and his manager, Mark Oswald and Dee Snyder, we'd get on the phone a lot. Now, I want to back up a story to another. It's amazing to me not knowing, but it's just my faith that carried me through the whole thing. Now, I had a friend of mine, Danny Zalesko, who's a promoter out in um, he's in Phoenix.
Yep.
And I called Danny. I go, Danny, I go, man, I need a production guy. I need some help. He goes, I got the guy for you. It's with Live Nation, and just call him. He's on the East Coast. I won't give up his name,
Right.
but I talked to him, and when I was talking to him, I said, look, man, I'm putting this show together, and I've got it all mapped out, and I know how I want to do it. I want to run video. I'm going to run one drum kit. We're all going to play the same kit,
Nice.
and we're going to do 5-minute changeovers.
Wow. Quick.
Well, between the changeovers, we're gonna have video of stories,
Cool.
right? And I'm telling him everything I want to do, and he's going, Troy, now you can't do that. And I'm like, no, 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 but you don't understand. This is how it's going to work. And I kept telling him, and I just, no, no, no. And I said, you know what? I said, thank you so much for your time. I says, I appreciate it. And I just basically hung up. I called another friend of mine from Jam Productions, Mark Miller. And I called Mark. I go, Mark, I'm putting this show together, man. and I need some help. And he goes, awesome, man. And I go, yeah, but you don't understand, man. I want to do 5 minute changeovers. I got one kid. This is how I see it. This is how we could do it. Here's the lineup. And I started running it all down. He's like, that's freaking great, man. And awesome. Everything was just the
Yeah.
opposite. And now I
Yep.
have Mark Miller to come in. I got
Nice.
my guy. He knows the building, knows
Yep.
everything connected to it because that's what he
Cool.
does. And and,
Nice.
and it went from there, man. And then I got publicists and I start calling people, and it just kept going and going and going, and everything and everybody was in.
Wow.
And it was such a beautiful thing. And now we're getting to the tail end of it. We're trying to sell tickets. Tickets are light, and I'm on the phone with Mark Oswald and John Rich and Dee, and we're not selling. I
Okay.
don't know why. It's a freaking Monday night. That was the worst time you could pick it for a date, and I picked it for it was the 25th, 08 on a Monday. And I was like, had no idea, but that's the date we took and to have our show. And so I think it
Yeah.
worked for us and against us, but
Yep.
we're only, believe it or not, with the lineup that we had and for the event and what it was, and we had a lot of press because D went out and he did Howard Stern, he did the Today Show, he did all those things, you know. He was really doing a great job with all the press. And then we're at like it's a few weeks out. We're only at like a few thousand tickets.
Mm, yeah. The Civic Center holds about 8 to 10 too.
And
Yeah.
now I've got production. I've got it set up so we can document it all. I've got all the video and audio. I've got all my people in place.
Yep. Sound, lights,
D
all
and
that.
D calls and he goes, "Hey man," he goes, "I just talked to Alex Coletti over at VH1. They want to get involved."
Nice.
You right? And you would think, yeah, that I would be, that would have been my response. And I go, oh shoot, D. I go, I'm a little concerned about that. I says, we got to own all and retain all the rights to this thing.
All right.
I says, because we're going to be doing a documentary and we're going to be doing all these things. And I
Right.
said, and he's like, do you hear me? He's getting a little upset with me at that point, for all the right reasons as well. Yeah, yeah, Mr. Naive.
Well, you
No,
know.
I'm just thinking like, so anyway,
Right.
I said, okay, let's take the call.
Yeah,
We're,
you're looking out.
yeah, but prior to that call, you know, we had Mark Oswald. He's like, look, Troy, just do a $10 ticket in the balcony, do this, and that. So
Right.
things are picking up as we're a few weeks out, you know,
Right.
we peak out at about 6,000, the end result on that thing.
Not bad.
Now I'm doing a conference with VH1. And it was so awesome because I remember they had 20 people on the other line. We're a few weeks out, and um, I remember when we were introducing ourselves to who we are. I said, "Yeah." I called my attorney. I said, "Look at Shauna Hillary. Thank you, by the way, Shauna. You did an amazing job of putting all that together."
Mhm.
Um, I said. I said, Shauna, just we got to retain the rights. I said, you know, let's we got to hopefully, you know, we don't want to kill the deal, but if we have to, we're going to kill the deal on our end and let them take it over. And it is what it is.
Right.
And I knew that, but it was awesome. We were able to have that meeting and we retained ownership. We gave them an exclusive for 3 to 6 months. I don't remember what it was, but with the power of television, you know, I mean, it was so awesome because after we had done the event, they ran the show, and I think we clocked out by the time it was all said and done, it could have been 1.234 million. You
That's
know, and
awesome.
we made some real money and it helped the families, and it was a complete success, you know, and it was just all built on faith.
Man.
That's all it was, man.
Troy Luccketta, D. Snyder, what a positive change, and that is included in the guest list documentary, and that's the documentary that we're talking about. My best friend Dave Bellino was a director. Grew up playing baseball together and sleeping over each other's houses, and I was in Fort Myers on the air at the time of the fire, and I remember that, and nobody knew what to do. It was so crazy at the time, but for you guys to come in and see that and feel it And with the grace of God and your friends and connections, we're able to help a lot of those people. So I just wanted to open by saying thank you very much for people who don't know who Troy Luccketta really is. I think they've got a damn good idea now.
Well, I look, man.
And that's who you are, and that's a good thing, Troy.
Well,
It's okay. You
thank
can be humble. It's
Yeah,
okay to
no, it's
take
just,
a
I mean, it's not false humility or anything like that. It's just who I am and what I do. And I've been doing stuff behind the scenes, and I try to keep it that way. It's like don't let the right hand see what the left hand's doing, kind of thing. And
yeah,
I don't need all of the other stuff. And
I know
there's
you don't.
press on me about anywhere about this that's attached to it.
I know.
It's much like what I did I posted something the other day. March 11th was the anniversary of Keith Emerson's death. Now, prior to that, I recorded with Keith in 2012. I went to Munich, Germany with him with a full orchestra and
Wow.
recorded all this
Beautiful.
old VOP stuff. And nobody really knows. I've talked about it in interviews here and there, but I had never posted anything to this date until just the other date because I never wanted to boast and I didn't want it to come off. It's the most amazing thing I've ever done. And I say that humbly, but that's why I didn't post anything because I had done this most amazing piece of work. And I'm like, it was so personal to me. I didn't need that. And I
Right.
didn't want that. And I always got to check my motives of why I'm doing something.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
about me or is this about them? You
Uh,
know, and that's the whole thing. We can get caught up in those things. And I've been really good. And I found out through because I've done so many events that I've gotten to find out who I am through that. I didn't know when I started. You know what I mean? You just have somebody sick and you want to help a friend. I remember my friend Chevy. He had ocular melanoma, and we just went into the little moose lodge with his family. And I called my band, Tesla. God bless all of those guys. They've always shown up for me
yep.
and us. And that's why I have the shirt, just show up. That's
Nice.
that's my whole thing about life, man. Just show up.
I love your t-shirts. And
Yeah.
and we'll talk about another one I saw in just a minute when after this. But yeah.
But I had the vehicle with the band, and that was so cool. That's what made all this work. It was just, that's all I've ever tried to do with I've always had great intentions, but I helped pave the road to hell with some of those intentions, you know.
It's Troy Luccketta, Tesla, and man, you've got a new band too. But before we talk about the new band and the new T-shirt, I saw you with the video in on that new band, the cool T-shirt. John Corabi, I want to talk about him for a second. You worked on his album. What another great guy, a good friend of ours.
First, yeah, John, so amazing. Let me clear up that Marty Fredrickson, who produced the record, Evan, his son, who's freaking genius, he played on the record. Okay. I wasn't involved. I didn't know anything about any of this. It just came up but yes, I just did 3 weeks with him in Europe and I've learned a lot and just spent the other night with him and I hanging out and man, I had no idea about John. I was pretty ignorant, Scream, Union, all the stuff, the Daisies and all the stuff he had done. I knew about the Daisy stuff, and I'd see him doing acoustic stuff, and we'd said hi, maybe passing. But we never had a thing or talked, or I didn't know his history. I didn't know anything about him. Now that I do, wow,
Yeah.
I'm blessed, to
Yeah.
be working and playing with him, and we've gotten real friendship going on. It's nice.
Yeah. Pretty chill dude too. Yeah, we
Yeah.
like him a lot. And looking forward to seeing more of you with Rizz and the Believers, man. I'm funked out with this "Don't Stop Trying" song, man. It's like just so different and cool, and that's probably a lot of the reason why you're doing that now, right? It's
Well,
something different.
I've been blessed to play a lot of great music, and I've always played a lot of great music, with different people, and I've never wanted to be just a rock and roll, stuck in just that. I've been blessed. I've done some R&B record. I say a R&B record, one R&B record with a gal named Frida Payne. She was around back in the late 60s, 70s with Diana Ross and the Supremes. In 2001, I did a record with her and you would never know it was me. And then I also did, well, the Keith Emerson thing, that was a way stretch. That's way different. Doris Day, her last
Wow.
I'm on her last record playing brushes. But
Wow.
yeah, and I only did, a few tracks on the record. I did a half a dozen songs, but they were all covers, so only a few of the songs made it on the record. But, those are things that, and I played, I got to do the Whitford St. Holmes record. So I've been able to,
Oh, you were on that too?
reunion, that's me.
Oh, wow, with Brad Whitford and Derek St. Holmes. Brad Whitford from Aerosmith. Yeah, and Derek from
Yeah, I
10,
did that.
1000.
And yeah,
Nice. I didn't
and
know
those are
that.
all freak
I've
accidents.
got that record. I've got that album.
Well, the crazy thing is Derek had called me and said, "Hey, will you come down and jam with Brad and I?" And it was just an accident, and so I did. And I jammed with them a couple times. They asked me to go in the studio on. I was leaving out of town, and short story is, and hey, can you come in Monday? We'll set up at 10 a.m. We're going into the castle. I said, sure, I can do that because I was leaving Wednesday with Tesla for 6 weeks. And I thought I was just going to record a couple songs. And I went in Monday and Tuesday, 5 o'clock, I was done. And I left. And a week later, Derek calls me, said, Brad's flipping out. He loves the record. And I'm like,
Yeah.
record? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we went on the road, did some, it's fun. That was a beautiful time of my life for sure, too. But, these are, again, back to just playing music, I mean,
Right.
I just been,
And that's the theme. That's what it is, man. That's been your life. And we go back to the station fire again, but that's the only reason those people were there was for the music. And you're
yeah.
doing it for the music. Like, I get it. You've
Well,
played.
people, again, for all the right reasons, and come back to Rizz and the Believers because that's my passion and my Rizz and I moved him here 4 years ago from Nashville. We're in
Nice.
Nashville, and he's here. And I put the band together, Peter Keys from Skinner, myself, Michael Devon, who spent 10 years in Whitesnake, and him and I are in Corabi's band together, and we've done some things together. And John Salloway, I call him my secret weapon. He was the first guy I brought into this thing.
Um,
And Michael Sterto, we were doing the Guess Who together. I went
nice.
out, did that for about 7 months.
Awesome.
And then, yeah, Michael spent 10 years with Lou Graham. So I had all these different guys, and I didn't want to do it different. The Nashville thing is you just grab all the guys here. We could have done it really quickly. And I said, just might not be the record we're looking for. So I wanted to do something a little different. And it's worked. And we built a whole brand around it. And it's happening. And I believe Riz, that thing's gonna shine. I'm glad you like it.
I do. Yeah. And I love the two drummers. I love
That's my
the.
son.
Is that your son?
Yeah.
I
He
didn't.
it all started with him. He was producing Riz. It all starts with my son.
Wow.
Yeah, he was having a surgery before COVID, and I went out there to spend 3 weeks with them. And he had a tumor, and they took his ear out. He had a major surgery, and he was down. And
Oh,
he's like,
man.
"Dad, while you're here, can you put some drums on this stuff?" And he was working with Riz, producing Riz, and that's where it all started.
Wow. God, he's good. Yeah. The two
Yeah, he's
drummers.
awesome. Oh yeah, and he plays the heavier stuff, and he kicks my ass on all that. Because I've been, I'm a different player, but he likes the heavy stuff, the double kicks and
Right.
um, you know, yeah, he's awesome.
Well, in that video, you are wearing another cool T-shirt, and it says "Just as I am."
Well, Jason Crabb, Christian artist, I went and seen, and that was where I got that shirt. And a huge fan of Jason, his music. He's authentic. I mean, there are so many things about things that register with me when I saw that shirt, here everybody looks great in the video and I'm just, and then that's part of, I remember my sister calling me going, everybody looks great in the video. Why didn't you, kind of like put on a cool shirt like that? I'm like, that was the cool shirt,
Yeah, man. Yeah,
for
it
me.
is.
That's who I am.
Yeah,
But I mean, when I look at everybody else, because they all got a vibe and a thing, and I'm like, yeah, I get it. But I mean, yeah, that's my message, man. It is what it is.
yeah, yeah. The big band. I mean, it just sounds so good. It's just like a cool, fresh, funky. And what do you say? Positive change, unity, passion, humility, creativity, and authenticity.
Riz is the real deal, man. 32 years old from Reno, Nevada. Brought him here, like I said, after the COVID thing hit, and that slowed us down. Then I said, "What are you doing?" I brought him out here, and we're sitting on so much stuff. I mean, And I tell everybody he's our next stadium act, and that's what I believe. So that's we're going with this thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you guys are going to go doing some touring, and we can look forward to some
Yeah,
more of
we've
that.
got some stuff, and this is, I told Riz I didn't want him to get the wrong idea with me I had to get out. I needed to get out and play a little bit, and I didn't know. And now that I'm with John, I didn't know what it was going to be. But after spending 3 weeks with him, I'm like on the road. I'm like, I told him the other night. I go, John. I go, dude. I see you. I see who you are, man. Your soul, man. That's why I'm here. He's the, he's so beautiful, man. He's a
Yeah,
beautiful, beautiful guy.
yeah,
And I watch how he treats people and how he works, how he gets involved. He's in it and he works hard, man. That guy will. When we did an opening show, we were playing the Basement East out here, and I'm calling in the morning. He's like, "Hey man, yeah, I gotta go pick up." You had John's voice. I gotta go pick up this amp, and I gotta go over here, and I gotta do that all before like all the stuff he's got to do. He's doing all the heavy lifting. He doesn't have anybody. Now there's a joke between us, but because I'm like, I got a guy, So now I'm Troy, I got a guy, But so
right,
but he's like, I gotta go pick. I go, no, no, no. I go, I'm gonna send someone over. I'm taking that off your plate, man. I just wanted to help him out because I see what he's doing and I can help and I'm happy to help out and jump in. I don't just play drums, man. If you need me to set up, I'll set whatever you need me to do, man. I'm
right,
here, I'm here to serve, man.
right
And that's
on.
what it's about, man. Life of service is there's nothing greater than serving.
Well, you did a hell of a job with Tesla in the years there. Now you've got Rizz and the Believers, Corabi. What is next for Troy Luccketta? Who are you going to help next? You angel in disguise, you.
Thank you. Uh, well, there's a little thing happening. Eric Martin and I have reunited.
Nice,
Yeah, Mr. Big, Eric. And before Mr.
nice.
Big, Tesla was the Eric Martin band. And we have a record that's coming out right now. And what it is, we did it like 1983.
Wow.
So yeah,
Well, that's Mr. Big Time.
it was before Mr. Big.
Yeah,
Well, before Mr. Big and Tesla, Eric and I, we did American Bandstand. We toured with Journey, the Eric Martin band.
that's awesome.
We did a record on Electra. And we were in 5 sold-out nights at the Blaisdell Center with Journey on the Frontiers tour, and
Wow.
it's all documented coming out now.
Oh,
Yeah,
awesome.
and it's good.
I
I was
bet.
like, oh, I don't know. You sure you want to put that out? Well, I watched it and I was like, cool. So now we're going to talking about doing a little thing in Japan, and we might do some little dates around here. So another little spin-off. There's something that came up last little over a week ago that I can't talk about just yet. I don't know where I fit into this picture, and I'm not sure who it's for, but great call, major, big, massive production thing that
Wow.
could be entering into my life, possibly. I don't know. I don't know if I'm their guy or not. We'll find out. There's things that could make sense for both of them either way it goes. And I'm not in it for me. I got to be in it for them.
Right. Yeah,
You know,
that's the mantra.
yeah. So
Yep.
whatever's best for them and what they need to do to make that decision, we'll see.
I get a feeling you're going to be a part of that, Troy Luccketta.
Well, I'm doing my part. I've done the research. I've done the homework. There's communications. The lines are open. I'm still in the race. How about that?
Nice. Nice. I
At
love
this,
it.
at this time.
That's your next
You could
shirt.
call me tomorrow. You could call me tomorrow. That could be changed, But as of right now, I think I'm still in the race.
That's your next t-shirt. I'm still in the race.
I love that. That's great.
That's yours, man. Troy Luccketta. It is a pleasure talking to you, man.
Yeah.
It is good to see you and good to get to know you.
Well, thank you, man. And feel free anytime, if you want to grab my number when you hang up, Jody, whatever, feel free to stay in touch. And when I'm coming through town, maybe we can. Where you at?
I'm in West Virginia right now,
Oh man,
Morgantown.
so Ravenswood, do you know where that is?
No.
Okay. I spent some time in this little small town. My fiance of we've been together 3 years now.
Nice. Congrats.
Beautiful, amazing woman. I met when I was out with the Guess Who, and she's from Ravenswood, and I bounce back and forth, West Virginia. Love it, man. Beautiful
Excellent.
place. So what
Yeah,
part?
I'm
What,
on Cheat Lake.
what is it?
I'm on Cheat Lake near WVU.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, got a little pontoon and a boat. When you come out, we'll just go
Really? You
chill
got a
and relax.
pontoon?
Yeah, yeah, nice
I'll
one.
tell you what, man. Exchange numbers when we hang. You got mine, I think.
Yeah,
And we're going to be making a trip back and forth and doing some stuff. So I'll look you up.
yeah, give me plenty of time, man. We'll make sure it's a good time.
Yeah.
Be great.
Awesome.
Awesome. Troy Luccketta, Tesla, Rizz and the Believers. Yeah.
John
Yep.
Corabi.
And John Corabi, man. That's
Love
it.
John, man. Love you, John.